defer to me today.
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming out to another episode of the Thunderdome. What's going on, Kent? John, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Nice.
Weekend, man. Got to use it.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, we got a couple reptile shows going on at this point right now.
Yeah, 2 in Atlanta, apparently. I think there's a couple local by me. The one up in Canada.
Yeah, a lot going on this weekend.
In fact, I seen Terrence, he had a podcast going too out there.
Yeah. I mean, he was broadcasting last night from Atlanta, one of the shows. I don't know. I guess there's a fight. Babu has one. There's another traditional one. But, I don't care. Everyone wants to do their own show. Which one's better? And we compete with a lot of people multiple times per weekend, right? Everybody wants their own show, so I really don't care. But it was cool to see them, in Atlanta doing that thing last night, doing the thing for JD. God rest his soul. And I think tonight after or on Wiz's channel, they're going to be doing some more stuff for JD from ball games. So, I mean, that's awesome that, we can always come together as a community for those things.
Yeah, agree. They're running it back tonight on Wiz's deal. So,
I think, and I'm going to put this out there, Levance has a DG clown, something. You don't pay shipping. So, I mean, there's a couple other things that they're going to try to do to help them out. So, that's what makes me love this community. That, we can fight whatever, but at the end of the day, we have stuff like, what happened last night and, what's going to happen later today. So,
was that the guy that got bit by that snake?
No, this was a guy in Colorado. I don't know how he passed. It was just untimely. But he came in heavy, he came in hot, and, was in these sort of, our group panels, things like that. And unfortunately, he passed early.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the deal last night. They were running out. His wife, Kim, was trying to tossing up whether she was going to keep this going, try to do some of it herself, but came down to it was just too much. So she put it all up for auction, try to cover some of the expenses and things involved. And then a good way to close it out on her side too, I think, maybe get some closure and move on at least from that part of it. Cause I can't imagine the difficulty in having all that around you still and trying to maintain it. I mean, that would be a lot, man. So
keep reminding you
decision, I think. Yeah, exactly, Vance. It's a constant reminder around you and piling on the stress and work of it too, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And a huge thank you to everybody that's, bought something last night on Hair Down, contributed. That's awesome. And it sucks that sometimes we have to come together for these type of things, but it's life. And if we can help somebody out when they need it.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, it's the sad part of life. We never know. I was thinking that earlier. It's like any day could be your day. Not guaranteed to live old. So,
yeah. But to get off that somber note, we'll push it back to you, Vance.
Yeah. What's going on, Will? How you doing? Thanks for coming out. Go Chiefs, and sorry whoever drafted Tua. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man.
No one drafted Tua, though.
Yeah.
Justin picked him up.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm left-handed, so it's like I respect the guy being left-handed, and he's a pretty good quarterback, but he just cannot get stopped from the injuries. It's like, man, that's what his fourth concussion that we know of. I mean,
yeah, and bad ones besides,
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised in that hit too. It didn't look brutal, honestly. I mean, that's kind of like that. Not Stedman Bailey. What's that one guy that got hit on the field in his heart?
DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin, like
but
that.
Literally, Tua hit him in his freaking heart.
Yeah, Didn't even look brutal. The guy
Chris Berman said something about that, and was like, "That's insensitive." But yeah, I mean, he hits DeMar Hamlin in the chest. DeMar Hamlin's trying to make a legal tackle, and Tua just
out.
Rough, man. It looked really rough.
I mean, if you saw it,
Classic pose, with the arm up and
like he had.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, a boxer hits you the right way for boxing, but he just, every time he gets knocked in the head, it's just rigor. Yeah. That's not good, man. I don't care how good of a quarterback he is, but he has to contemplate that might be his last game ever.
Right. And super susceptible to it now. I don't think it's going to take a lot, that damage is there. It's going to be touch and go. So I don't know, man.
That stuff's scary.
Call it quits on my side. I'd be like, yeah, that's a career, I guess.
Yeah. I used to want to take boxing. I took martial arts when I was younger, but until this guy that I used to work with, he used to box and everything, and he was telling me he gets headaches real bad and all that from the boxing. And it's like, it's just not worth it, man, taking all those hits to the face. I mean, even though you're just sparring or whatnot, just those little jabs, I mean, that is, especially when you are going full force too and don't have pads and all that crap on, but definitely brutal.
For sure. And you just don't know. I mean, every individual is a little different. Some people could take 100 of those and the next guy can take 3, and you don't know that until the damage is done.
Exactly.
It's like, ooh, too late,
Yeah, like you said, everybody's different. I mean, this guy might be fine and everything, got hit 3 or 10 times and you think he's fine, or he is, but the guy that gets hit, just a couple times ends up having a worse condition or something.
Yeah. Touchy stuff, man.
Yeah, well, Trent Green. Yeah, I did I just noticed Kent took off for a minute. Let me see here. I was trying to find a deal. I did the picks for this week. Right there, I think. I'll do those picks in a bit, but I was going to show, let's see.
It's a good looking thumb, man.
Thank you. I was going to use the laptop so I didn't have to do this, but
I'm just teasing you.
Get a chance to do okay, here it is. So, John, you got 2 out of 4 last week for last week's game. Jamie didn't do so hot. She got 1. But don't feel bad, Jamie. Don't feel bad. Will, you actually did pretty decent. You got 2 out of the 4. Ken, he did pretty good, actually. He got 3. Good job, Ken. And then, of course, there's me. Jamie, don't feel bad. I'm not leaving you out. I got 1 myself. I did pretty crappy. So, but don't worry, Jamie. There's next week. So, well, actually, this week's. So, might come back. I'm still bitter about that Rams game.
It was overtime.
I'm not as bitter, but man, that was I knew it was going to be a close game. I mean, look at last year's 1 point difference. Was it 23-24 at the end? So it was like, it's going to be a good game and be close, but it kind of sucks because we didn't have our 2 players, Verse and Fisk. They didn't play any part of the preseason. The coach didn't want them getting hurt, so it's like they didn't get any time. But first game, that's all right. But I know this week we are playing. We're playing Arizona, so that's a divisional game. So that one should be pretty good. And then next week, I know we play Frisco, so there's another divisional game. So that one's going to be a tough game.
That one's going to be hard, but who knows with the injury report there. Also, your injury report. It's going to be interesting.
We got
tomorrow with Dallas. I think you may have picked that game, but I know you picked Dallas and the Browns the first week, and well, we back.
Yeah,
and we say that every year. But it's just like interesting. You see the Patriots beat the Bengals.
Right. That was a shocker.
There was a bunch of weird games that were like, huh? last week, where it's like, or the Bills being down as they were.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, what's this thing? What are we doing? Does preseason matter, or do we need like 2 to 3 weeks to just let everybody play? We have contract holdouts, things like that, injuries, whatever. It's just like, does preseason matter?
I still feel like it has its place. I feel like it is a good kind of a gauge for teams to see kind
Who
of a
they're gonna
live
cut.
field. Yeah, live field showing of like actually you can only do so much in practice, right? Throw on the red shirts, throw on the yellows, and kind of go against your own squad. But like that live action, whether it's first stringers or bench or anything, does give you a better feel. I feel like that's good for teams. Win or lose doesn't really matter, right? I mean, that's no bearing, but it gives you that nice gauge of like what kinds of things can we get away with calling and who can we throw in there when we have to, right? Somebody goes down, can we count on this guy off the bench? Well, you wouldn't know without preseason. You're just going to throw him in there with your fingers crossed, right? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. I mean, like you said, I mean, it doesn't really as far as a record being on, wins that or losses, that's not going to matter. Stats on that stuff,
right?
But it does give you, like you said, that advantage to see who's playing good and who's not, who you want your first and second stringers to be, and all that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why it was unfortunate, because a lot of people got to see their, who's going to play their rookies, and it's like, we already knew who we were going to have, but we just didn't get to see them play. Like it said, the coach just didn't put them in. So
yeah, bummer.
But hopefully this next week will be a little bit better.
I mean, definitely some shakeups, some weird stuff happened. I mean, even into the Thursday game, right? That was from a fantasy standpoint, that was a not great game except for a chain, right? Like he did next to nothing, but in a PPR league, he owned,
cleaned up, yeah.
And like
Will's got a point,
before, right? Like when you're playing PPR, it don't matter. You get some touchdowns, you get some touches, passes. You could have negative 10 yards, 10 catches, and probably still do all right in PPR league.
You can, yeah.
You have quarterbacks. It's a quarterback duel, like it was, with Minnesota, or not Minnesota. I don't know why I brought them up. They dominated last week. With Sam Darnold somehow.
Darnold, yeah.
But like with Mahomes, was it Mahomes and Allen week 1, or no? Mahomes and Lamar. Like
Jackson, yeah.
That was a great game, but statistically, from a fantasy football standpoint, Lamar was great. Didn't get the win. Like it's so much different to do fantasy football than it is to actually watch and root for these teams. It's like
absolutely. The thing I find the enjoyment in honestly is that I would watch my team matchups or somebody in the division, but I wouldn't spread that across the league like I do when I have a fantasy team. Like you've got a guy playing on a Thursday night, neither team's in your division, you don't really care, but you got 2 guys on that team, you're going to watch that game.
Right.
So it does boost your interest in stuff you wouldn't normally tune in, kind of fun. Different.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Generally with NFL, I have almost every game on. I got some, red zone, whatever I can't get cheap, I got it all on. Today, it's college football. Penn State's not playing. They're my team, even though I never went there. And right now, or in about 12 minutes, it's going to be the backyard brawl between Pittsburgh and West Virginia. That was huge until West Virginia fled the Big East for the Big 12, and then Pitt eventually, went to the ACC. But that is a huge rivalry game, and it was so nice to be able to see within 3 weeks Penn State play West Virginia and Pitt play West Virginia. That bringing back some of those old school rivalries,
right? And all of those different divisional things in college, I've lost track of so long ago. There's been so many shifts and moves between Big 10, Big 12, Big East, ACC. I mean, it's like I can't even keep track of that stuff anymore, man.
I've lost all that. like I'm a Fresno, because I'm from Fresno, so I mean I'm a Fresno State Bulldog fan, and I just seen the other day on the news they got Fresno. I can't, like I said, I can't keep up with that Pac-12 and all that shit anymore. I've lost it.
Well, there's 2 right now,
and so right now they're getting ready, like Fresno State, something with the schools changing, something happened, and so now Fresno State might be in a different conference or some shit with something, and so I'm like, I'm lost. I really don't even understand what it is anymore.
Pac-12 is like Pac-2 or 1 right now. Oregon State and Washington State, maybe.
I couldn't even tell
But
you.
now they're grabbing teams from the American Conference. I don't know. I guess they have they're going to be a 16 league in 2025. I have no clue. But it's like everybody leaves, and it's generally towards the Big Ten or SEC.
Yeah, all
some of
that
the
stuff moving around.
Pac-12 teams did go to
Jose?
SEC. So I
Thanks
guess
for coming out.
they will be with Stanford, the All Coast Conference, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if it takes away from things in college football. It definitely takes away from rivalry games. It definitely takes away from, with a new playoff having, you can lose some games. Like Notre Dame still can make it. Florida State probably still can make it, which is nice. It's, as a Penn State fan, we lost to Pitt opening week, beat Ohio State, won the conference, dropped to Michigan, left out. Ohio State's in. Okay, that's
all that ranking stuff makes.
I may accept that, but then last year of 4, undefeated conference champion gets left out. I that don't sit right with me. Even if they were all beat up and they suck now, Florida State should have been in over Alabama.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, man. I wish I followed it closer to have that argument, because years ago I would, but the way they do all of their voting, even in this bowl system now, is but it's kind of nuts. You see positions that make 0 sense in the rankings, and they're
currently, if you're in the SEC and you're halfway decent, you are ranked. You are better than any other team. Well, ESPN, SEC. I mean, they have a deal.
Right.
I don't want to call it collusion, but I think bad SEC or decent SEC teams get better rankings, better everything than other teams, just because SEC. But we can bring this over to the NFL. What were your storylines this week, right? Christian McCaffrey, Tua, Dax
Love.
We're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it's all about what sells media, and I will leave it at that because I don't want to get on that because I'm curmudgeon and been listening to Cowboys bullshit on the other side for 30 years.
I'm thinking of Taylor.
America's team. I never understood that.
It wasn't Jerry.
Right.
I'm thinking of Taylor Swift when you mentioned that. There's a good story. Well, I'm not saying it's a good storyline, but obviously there's a lot of people that are liking it or whatever. I guess
what the fuck does she have to
do
with football?
Keep it football. Get that. I don't know. It's just, we don't need to hear the love story and all that. You know what I mean? Get that shit out of here.
But
that's where
end of the day, it's numbers, right? End of the day, it's eyeballs on the screen, and she has brought a lot of eyeballs that would never watch otherwise, and the NFL just eats that up. They love that.
And the thing is, I don't even care that they do it, but don't show it 5 times or 500 times. We don't need. What was it? Something the other day they showed one football thing, and then the 5 other times it was her. Is I don't give a shit. You could show it a couple times, but damn, I mean.
Oh, dude, I will say, watching today, we had the, College Game Day, right? But we had the prelude to College Game Day, and then we had the other thing once the game fucking started. It's all the same stuff. Just chill. I'm gonna watch it because I'm a glutton for this stuff. But anyway, like I like this. I enjoy the stats. I enjoy seeing Pat McCaffrey being a punter, having this thing, and he's talking to Nick Saban, whomever. Like, I mean,
Right.
that's exciting. But then on the other side, you have freaking Dan Orlovsky, who is now a pundit. Great, he was awesome at UConn. Okay. You asked that 0-16 Detroit Lions team what happened?
Right.
But he's an expert now. And what would you guys have been better? Well, maybe. I don't know. He ran out of the end zone. Jared Allen came after him.
Right. How did you feel about the Brady first go?
Well, it was my game. He seemed nervous, but again, he is the GOAT, right? Regardless of whether you want to say it was a Belichick thing, he did win all those games. He went down to a very good Tampa Bay team and won.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
He's great. His last hurrah, my team whooped his ass, put him on the ground. So that felt nice after, losing to him at the beginning of the season, whatever. But he, love to hate him, right? Like, Tom, regardless, if you're a system quarterback, you never throw, 12 yards down the field, never have a deep threat, he won. And at the end of the day, winning's what matters, because that's how we talk about quarterbacks. Super Bowls.
Right.
Dan Marino.
That's far better quarterback.
That's all right, Jose. You don't have to like football to get those picks in. You'd still win some merchandise or credit. We'll be talking snakes anyways in a bit too.
Yeah. It's fucking me again. He played in the NFL. I know people that play in the NFL. I mean, or were on NFL teams. Dan Orlovsky. Plus, he was in the Big East back in the day, and he may not have beat Pitt. Anyway, but it's like, he's an expert. Like, we can look at one of the best guys, College Game Day, Ohio State alum, Kirk Herbstreit. What the hell did he do to be there? Or Jesse Palmer. Like, you have guys that were quarterbacks that relatively good looking or something like that, if you're into that. But they are the decision makers. They are the people. Now, when they're up against Nick Saban's like, all right.
So you guys know what Jose's saying, most likely. He said, don't start barking, Vance. Because I'm from Fresno, and I said the Fresno State Bulldogs, the college team. There's an actual gang there that's called the Fresno Bulldogs. And what they do is you'll hear them barking at each other and shit when they're out on the streets. They're like, arr, arr, arr. So that's what he's probably talking about.
Probably. I thought it was just a bulldog reference for the team, but yeah.
Yeah,
they actually
sense. It's weird too because they wear like the Fresno State Bulldog hat, so it's like
gotcha. He just doesn't want you out there banging, huh?
Exactly. I'm not doing any of this and
I gotcha. Yeah, no, my question on the Brady thing, I guess, was just for his debut, how you felt it went. I didn't think it was as bad as he got.
I mean, it wasn't and as a Cowboys fan, we've gotten Greg Olson's crew numerous times.
Yeah.
And it was better than that.
See,
we get a lot of Fox games for America's Game of the Week because they're America's team or whatever. And it's always, Greg Olson. I have nothing against him. He's a great football player, but not the best commentator. I mean, it's going back to when Jason Witten was in the booth. There are guys that can do it. I think Brady can do it because he can offer up that expertise that he has.
Yeah,
and though I hate him,
quarterback eye,
but he can. I think he can do it better than Romo did. Now Romo, great mind of the game, decent, career, right? I mean, up there statistically. but he's gonna fumble on words and whatever. I think once Brady gets the hang of it, he's gonna be like Romo doing it on crack. Like he's gonna pick apart a defense. Like he'll tell you what the hell's gonna happen before it happens.
And that's what I hate about Romo now, because that's all he does is he
I know.
tries to guess the next play, and it's like, dude, shut up, just stop with that. Call the game that's happening. Don't call the one you
Yeah.
want to see. Don't call some predictions all get like, dude, just call the game.
Most of the time, he's been pretty good on it. He has fumbled some things, but so have the best of them.
Yeah.
I think Tom was nervous first time doing it, but I think he's gonna be good. I mean, to offer
I do too.
Insight. It was week 1, and he had a cupcake of a game to do. I mean, how wound up.
Right. Easy game.
Oh, Micah Parsons in the backfield again. Deshaun,
right.
I mean, he had his color commentary. Like, he had that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. Like I say, I think he got a harder time for it than was validated. I think he did pretty well for a debut, honestly. That's got to be odd, jumping in there and just talking away, right?
We're talking. That's about Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was our only week for picks, right? The one you put up was the 2. That's our positions for picks right now.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to throw the list up right now. But yeah, that was from last week's.
Okay.
What everybody got the first week. Yeah, Will's got a point, but hey, if we're bitching about that loudmouth Collinsworth, I wish he would retire. I cannot stand that guy. I agree. That guy. Shut up,
Vance. Give me a second.
All right, go for it. Yeah, that guy, man, he's just irritating.
So annoying. Yeah, Collinsworth is terrible, dude.
It's like his voice, but the stuff he says too. I don't know. Just everything. In fact, I'm going to show off something real quick. Or I guess we could do the picks, huh?
It's totally up to you, man.
Yeah, we'll do the picks. Let everybody check that out.
And I don't know how many have jumped in or out, but again, tune into
all right, guys.
Tonight to Wiz's channel.
Yeah. Wiz will be on at what, 6? Is it 6:30 or?
I think it's 7 Central, so I'm not sure, where everybody's at.
It's like 9:15. It's between 9 and 10 Eastern, something like that.
Okay.
So for pick 1, we got the Packers at the Titans. For pick number 2, game 2, we got the Chargers at the Steelers. For game number 3, we have the Dolphins at the Seahawks. And for game 4, we have Frisco at the LA Rams. So these should be some pretty good games. I think maybe that Packers Titans should be a good game. Hopefully that Chargers Steelers is too. And then the Frisco and the Rams, that should be a good one. I don't know. Two is out though now for the Dolphins, so that might be kind of an easy pick. I don't know.
Easier than it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am going to pop that up in my background again for you, Vance, because that seemed to work pretty slick.
Well, I was going to show this girl off. She's in shed. She's not as pretty as what I was hoping she normally is. You got any breedings going on right now, John?
Or we do. We've got pairings still going that we're hoping kind of come through, but hard to say. A couple of clown girls that didn't go. One banana het clown girl that didn't go. So we got some kind of leftover stuff that that we're still trying to sneak in there.
Right.
One big lace girl is pairing up to our lace clown, so hoping for some white lace het clown stuff there. But
Oops. Shit. I popped off somehow.
no, you were up there for a second, then went away.
Okay, here we go. This is a
See,
fire
pastel hypo.
fire pastel lesser clown.
Okay. A little male or a female?
Female.
Okay. Boy, that's really light.
Yeah. When it was actually crazy because when she was first born, she was completely white. So it was a pastel. Shit, what was it? A fire lesser clown to a pastel het clown, and so there was lesser in each one. So with the blue-eyed Lucy's, I thought I hit like, what was there? There was 8 eggs. I think 6 of them came out like all white. So I was like, man, I hit on the Lucy's pretty good, but she ended up changing color after a couple days.
Yeah, that looks pastel lesser fire. Is it all 3?
It's all 4 pastel lesser fire clown. I left out
Yeah, I
one.
could see
about that.
Okay, I was going to say it looked really light for just a pastel fire.
Yeah.
With a lesser, that makes sense. I got you.
I wanted to show off this het rainbow, but she's in shed. She just
Rainbow's
ate
a cool gene.
Do what?
I say rainbow's a cool gene. You don't see a
Yeah.
ton of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, I actually didn't like it until I saw or until I had Jolly. Thanks for the memories on my show when I did the show. And it was like the opposite of what I would have expected it to look like.
Mm.
And
Gotcha.
it had me sold on it. Not that I work with it, but it was like, okay, I see it. I see what y'all talking about.
Right. It is nice. You've got to see a nice example in something that works, right? But it's a cool gene.
For sure.
Just
But I mean,
on this.
meanwhile, I'm trying to, tomorrow I'm gonna try to sell this girl for like $300.
Is this the little spider?
No, it's the.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Hold on. Sorry, Ken.
I can undo it. So I mean, this is a super butter, but it's also pastel because it has to be, and we, did the UV light thing, and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I think I'm okay saying $300. I mean, everything's gonna be butter, pastel's gonna be there, and leopard possibly. Hopefully she sells tomorrow.
I think so. I mean, look, if the bells and the albinos even too, but the pieds and bananas, they all go pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think just because she's a belle, like I did list all the genes known to be there, but it's like one of those things where it's like, if she don't leave, she'll be fine. I have a couple other ones like that where it's like, it's female. I can grow it up, replace what I have. But yeah, it's just you can't see the other things that are there. You have to trust me. Now I do have the other 4 or 3 collection mates available as well. And like the one I'm still stuck on is this one, right? She's ready to go tomorrow, right?
Right.
Pastel gravel spark, pastel bypass.
Nice.
Roughly same price, but it's like she's also a holdback, maybe. I don't know. Like, do I give up my holdbacks for the potential stuff later?
I would personally, I would keep her.
And yeah, I'm leaning on that just because I can work it down the road later, but at the same time, it's going to be 3 years.
Right. That's the big ticket item in our mind is the time frame. So like if we have a project we could get into by getting rid of 2 or 3 holdbacks and grabbing one now, we'll always take that choice. Because the
Right.
time you just can't get that time back, you know.
Right. There's no hats for her. She's visually stunning.
Nice,
And
Will.
I do have a space like in the middle of my display for tomorrow because I'm still unsure.
Right.
But like I also have a holdback that I thought was going to be staying here. It's champagne, possibly het pipe, and she's available now because the things coming up in the future for me are better. So I'm like,
So I've actually got something pretty cool to show you guys. It's not mine, but I had an idea of what I was going to be doing. And unfortunately, somebody kind of got to it, but fortunately, too, because you get to see it at least, right?
Right.
So this thing is pretty fucking cool. Let me see here. You guys might have seen it. Not sure, but let's see.
I think we've seen it probably.
You probably have. Maybe.
I don't know if I have. Let's get this thing up there. Oh, nice.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Leopard and what all is in that thing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Like you said, it looks like leopard. Might be inchy or super inchy in there. But it's
leopard inchy I could see, not super.
Yeah, maybe not super inchy, but at least inchy. Again, we don't know. They didn't put it out what was in the gene or all the genes in there at all. So, yeah, it looks pretty though.
Yeah, it does.
And there's another shot, the side pattern. So
that looks like a rainbow, right?
It looks it. But, I mean, is it banana possibly? What genes did they put? Or is it rainbow? I don't believe it's lavender albino at all, but I mean.
No, they would be reversed.
Yeah. Curious to see what you could do with lavender albino. I don't know if you could get it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what I said about rainbow. It's like, what you think it looks like is going to be the opposite, right? Then purples are going to be there where you don't think they'll be. Ooh.
And that
iridescence.
I'm wondering if it's really that blue or with the sunlight, if it's maybe a little more purple.
It's wild either way.
Purple, but iridescence, it does exist in ball pythons.
Absolutely does. Yeah, our raven stuff is iridescent as heck when you get outside. Take that girl outside, you see every color under the rainbow in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, do we have a IMG type of thing in ball pythons? Kinda, maybe. But, just seeing like a rainbow, it's the opposite of what you would expect, like we just saw. And it's going to have that.
Right.
But
yeah, that's an odd looking snake, man.
Yeah.
Very.
That came from Kevin McCurley.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't
even his,
that actually wasn't even his post. That was his girlfriend or wife's. She posted it. I went back trying to his and looked, and I couldn't find it in there, but she already tagged that it was him and stuff. So. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
You do find out what's in that. Post it up somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear. Because that is an odd one.
People were asking in the comments what it was, but in fact, they even put in there, she put, "Don't ask what it is." And then people were asking anyways,
Is that coming from like Kevin? Mm-hmm. He means it because he may or may not know what actually is in there. And say what you want about him. He is a great guy for this hobby.
Right.
Did he find spider? Sure. But does he have some weird genes? Cool. Whatever. I mean, he's making his thing. But if you get me 3 reptile nerds in a room right now, he's one of the guys I'm asking to be here right now.
Him and Steven?
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean him,
Steven.
probably Brian Gundy.
Brian Gundy, I definitely
Because
would.
he's gonna tell me what I want to hear, and he's also a great guy.
But Steven, because that guy's pretty smart, he knows a lot of shit, and with his camera and photo, that guy's.
I get that. I get where you can see that. But I mean, there's very few people like it's my last reptile dance.
Right.
Who do I want here amongst the living? Because we all know there's two that can't get no more. Steve Irwin and Brian Barczyk. But you have Kevin here. Like he wrote a book on this shit.
Yeah.
Say what you want about him. I mean, the guy he's been on the RWO show. Right?
Yeah, that was a good show. He had so much stuff.
And I'm watching. I'm busy at work or whatever. And there's Billy also on this show, mind you. And Kevin's just showing off stuff.
Billy was amazing.
And Billy's like, what on earth is that? And Billy's a highly respected ball python guy.
Yeah.
And Billy's like, like fanboying like we all do. And that's just fucking crazy, right? To see that shit happen. That was one I'm sad I missed.
And that snake that was sitting there making that noise, man, that was so crazy. It had this like deep, I don't know, it was like a growl or something. That was weird.
He's showing up with every species of rat snake, like what you name it. Kevin's bringing it out and just doing this thing, and that was awesome. I mean, for a guy like me that loves reptiles, been around it since I was a kid, I love seeing that.
Yeah,
I like seeing it. I don't want any of it. I like seeing it. I don't want 99% of that stuff. And it's not because I don't like the animal, whatever, but like the feasibility of keeping in that kind of scenario is just outlandish to me. You know what I mean? Like stuff that's up to 20 some feet long, all the way to the to the oddball species that require so many different things. It's like, that's just too much, man. I can't fathom being in that position. You'd have to have, well, he does have, but you'd have to have such a staff 24/7 going that at that point you're, what would you call it? You're more a curator, right? I mean, you become in that management role almost. It's like you can't do it all. There's no possible way to do it all. And then who do you find? Like where we are, good luck. We'd have to relocate to, some big area with.
He finds guys like Jeremy Turgeon. He finds those guys that are younger, super interested, and that's what they do. I mean, but think about it. Look at how Jeremy has taken what he's gotten from Nerd and propelled it to his own thing.
Right. Yeah, good point. But I mean, that's rare to run across those people. And like I say, unless you've devoted your full life time, all your free time to that, none of that is feasible in my mind,
I mean, when is your day job? Every day.
Right.
I mean, we all would love to be able to do that, right?
It'd be fun for sure.
And we're never going to get there, right? So how do we get there? That's sort of where I look at this, right? So we can't be Kevin, we can't be Justin, we can't be whomever, right? How do we take what we can do within our means and make ourselves successful? So
our little piece of the pie of that, right?
So for me, that's like buying a $150 bongo female, and then she lays eggs the other day.
Right.
Like, okay, that gives me a leg up potentially. So, how do we do this? How do we manage all of this? Stop.
Right. But there's so many genes that are untapped. I mean, there's things that Justin Bilka's not working with, or that Ozzy's not working with, or Billy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Where do we invest where we haven't seen, the proof that there's an ROI? and Vance is sick of me saying ROI. But at the same point, it's like you're gonna buy something, you want it to make you money.
Right.
I mean, ideally, but in all honesty, the way we look at it as individual adults in our 3-person group, Jason, my brother, Jamie, and I, like, our interest in it is we actually enjoy it at this level. So, like, as long as it's not a bleeding wound that's just absolutely sucking every bit of our free money, we're happy doing it at a break-even point. And I know that sounds silly, but like, this isn't an income potential to us. We actually enjoy the activity of it, all of the functions of it, seeing the different stuff, hatching the babies, learning about what works best, what doesn't, the actual ins and outs of it. We enjoy enough to be good on its own. Like I say, to be in the black at all is ideal. Like, we don't need to make a ton of money off it. We all have good jobs. We all are secure with our homes and our retirements and all of that stuff in place. So to us, it's not looked at that way at all. Even on a brand new snake purchase to bring into the collection, to us, it's bringing that snake in not for a resale value, but what can we make with it that we want to see. Like, I want to see this made. Do you know what I mean? Whether we get anything back from that is neither here nor there to us. I know that sounds dumb. Be great to make a ton of money on it, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you on the same way. Like, yeah, I would love to make money on it, off of it. If I can make $100,000 or 50 or 30 grand or 10 grand a year, that would be great. But if I don't, I could really give a shit. That's not, if I'm not making any money right now on it, and I'm going on my 2nd year. I mean, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that I do hold back. But again, it's not about the money. It's about, like you said, this is what I want to see and create. I want to do that. I had snakes for the past 33 years now, since I was 10 since I had snakes. And it's like, I love them. It's not going to change. And I don't even like to use the word hobby, because it's not a hobby. That, to me, it's like, in a sense, it's kind of a hobby, but a hobby is kind of something you do when you have the time. This isn't.
It's almost more a lifestyle.
Yeah, this is like another lifestyle. Like, we are doing this every day with our animals. We're going in there every day, interacting with them, feeding them, giving them water, all that good stuff. So, I mean, even pulling them out, it's nice to pull them out, let them crawl around, look at them. Even if they're not crawling around, you're holding them, they're moving around, getting that little bit of exercise. I mean.
So it's funny. I mean, when we say hobby and lifestyle and all of that, the one that I could really compare it to, because I sat down with a buddy that does dirt track racing, or did for years, right? So it's very similar in his mind, but his first question is like, well, are you going to make any money back off of it? So I took 2 seconds to realize, like, are you making money back on your dirt track cars? No. You're like 200 grand in the hole. You've built a brand new car every year. You maybe won 20 grand in the last 5 years in your racing. You are throwing money at this hobby. You love it. You love the pit. You love working in the shop. You love building the car. You love trying to get it to go faster. You just like doing it. You are never going to make money doing dirt track racing, but you've been doing it for 15 years. Now, why is that different than me going out and grabbing snakes that are expensive, putting them together, getting a small return, but enjoying the process, right? Yep. And then it kind of dawned on him, like, okay, yeah, that isn't that weird. You're interested in something else. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was just kind of funny conversation.
Remind me of Days of Thunder.
Right?
Anybody gets that movie, that reference?
Yeah. And I mean, he did it every week.
Hit every other goddamn thing out there.
So yeah, I don't know. To me, that's more the way I view it. But again, I know that's not a good business model. It's probably not the smartest thing to say if you are trying to get that ROI that Kent beats up there. But,
no, I definitely got mine in buying a breeder female that came with eggs. So I might be fine. But again, I just want to, for me, with breeding ball pythons, if I spend money on a male or a female, I want to see them produce better than what's current.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm selling off a lot of stuff that I got when I got in. Single gene females, single gene males, double, whatever. I just have my focus, and now apparently that's ROI. So if I buy something, I want it to produce.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not I sell that stuff or keep it back, whatever, I want everything coming in to make me better off than where I was.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. That's the fun in it, right? Is improving your own collection and what you have, or at least to us. It's seeing that constantly getting better and better, and the stuff you're making wilder and wilder, whether that's a actual dollar return or not, isn't that critical to us. Again, as long as we're not dying to do it, right? Can't take food off our table to do it. But
Right.
you know what I mean?
May have done that for a couple of animals.
Right.
I'm skinny now. No, but like the way I'm looking at it is like, obviously I'm vending a show tomorrow. And we have people that are like, we're going to make these pairings to fuel these shows. And I'm like, no, what you get from me for these shows is stuff that I don't want, stuff that did not make my cut, stuff that I'm not holding back. And, for a while it was like, oh yeah, I need to make pies. I need to make bells. I need to make bananas. I need to make this stuff just to,
for the expo,
sell at shows while I do my own thing. It's like, no, I'm going to make for me. And that's where I'm looking at the ROI. I almost said RWO, but that's where I'm at. It's like, if I'm breeding this, it's going to be stuff that I want to, hold back. If I miss, then you can buy it from me.
Right.
And I want to try to set myself up for a couple of years of buying bad animals, or at least bad animals for like my projects.
Right.
I do feel like there are a place for those common heavy vendors where they know their numbers, right? So they're producing like you're saying, but they're like, okay, I have 12 shows coming up. I'm going to need that table stock, period. Or I'm going to be at my third show and running out of animals. So they purposely pair those smaller pairings
So I have
to
some
continue that progression, right?
I mean, you look at like Wilbanks. You go to his table, it's going to be cheaper than everybody else because he's built that in, and everybody hates on him. But like for me, I want my snake here that you're going to buy for me tomorrow. Somebody will, hopefully. It's going to be well cared for. Like, it's not going to be a number in a rack. It doesn't have a name, but it's not a number in a rack, something that's part of my, things I'm trying to sell. These are things I produce, things I care about. It's like, if you want to give me $20 for a pastel tomorrow, great. I'm sick of sitting on them because they're males and I can't use them here to further what I'm doing.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're sketchy, I'm going to read you. And I think there's a lot of things that people don't know about that go on in this hobby. We all talk. Whether or not we have social media, whatever, how big or how small we are, we all talk. So if you're going to be the guy that fucks it up, people will find out. If somebody gives me, $300 for that girl I showed off earlier, if I get a chargeback and I know that person's name, you better believe I'm going to blow the crap out of it because they bought it from me, sent the money, all sales final, and then charge back. No. Nobody would ever do business with you. Maybe at a show, but not on Work Market, not in like where we can kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, there's both the buyer and seller side of that. I mean, there's buyers out there who are with the correct intent, like our deal with the guys down south. This thing, it just
John.
What's that?
You still haven't heard anything, huh? In the past
Nope,
week?
not a few. No, it's been 2 months. I mean, he's never going to say anything. In that instance, you do have to do a chargeback. What do you do? What's your recourse? You have zero recourse. This thing is not as advertised at all. I mean, it's off on multiple counts, and zero accountability on the seller end, right? So I think that it's a two-sided coin, right? You just have to do your best to do as best you can and be as straightforward as you can. And I think that's going to follow you around regardless, right?
Exactly.
From both sides of the coin. So,
Right.
I mean, for the most part, to answer Tom's question, I have that kind of stuff right now, but that's not how I'm moving in the future.
right.
I'm not. It may have been the pairings that I could do, but it's not going to be the pairings in the future. So I'm not going to be breeding for like stuff for my table. If I vend 3 shows this year, I might hope they're the last 3 shows because I can get, that much money from one snake without the effort.
Yeah. And again, you're not full time, right? So these guys that do vend 30, 40 shows a year, they kind of have to do that to a degree in some amount, right? And I'm saying maybe not a ton, but they should be able to evaluate what kind of numbers they can successfully move and have on their table to keep them active, right? It's like if you open a clothing store and you only carry Louis Vuitton, you don't have t-shirts and socks, and well, good luck. I mean,
Right.
you're going to get 5 guys through that door, and if you're counting on your store to move merchandise, you're just out of luck. You better have socks, you better have belts, you better have underwear, things like that for the common person,
So
if that's
Exactly.
your mainstay,
that's
right?
also been one of the things. If you're new and you want to vend, and depending on your show, you need to have diversity.
For sure.
Now, I certainly luck out with Chris from BNS. We generally vend together, or I buy a table off of him. He has diversity. I have ball pythons, isopods, maybe some other shit. That's not enough to get in a whole fucking table.
Exactly.
Maybe some other shit. I'm curious about that category.
They haven't actually proved out because leopard geckos and crested geckos, you need a male that actually locks up. Otherwise, the females just drop duds.
It was just funny wording. That's all. I had to tease you a little bit, and maybe some other shit.
Right, but I mean, I could certainly, if I really wanted to, I could go with a cooler full of ASFs, but I also need them. I have Dubia up there. Unfortunately, they're not to the point where I can sell them. Now they're to the point where I can feed them off, but I can't sell them. And they were at that point, and Collie died. So the way I look at vending is like, if you can show up with everything, like, even dry goods, right? You might sell them. I got a bunch of calcium. $5.
No Wranglers, Will.
Who cares?
No Wranglers.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's got a point. Like, I agree with taking and breeding some banana or pieds or whatnot, albinos, taking them into the shows. I mean, it's that extra money. I mean, if you hit up enough shows and you go to the ones that are going to hit, there's going to be some shows that don't hit. You're not going to sell nothing or very little, but you got to do your homework or, go out and trial and error, find out which ones are working for you. And the ones that are doing pretty good, you could be taking and, if you do 5, 10, 15, 20 shows, whatever, and a year and make that extra 5 or 10
bucks, $75 a show. If you're only selling the low end snakes, maybe 1 or 2 a show, it's not worth it. Plus the driving, plus all the other expenses. So for me, I love this local show tomorrow because I might be able to move stuff and actually see, some money coming back that I'm obviously going to spend. Me. But yeah, I mean, you got to know your market, know what sells. This is a new market for me. I mean, it is my market here, but I've not made efforts to sell on Craigslist, things like that. I've relied on my social media or other shows or, hoping, praying somebody's going to be like, hey, I saw you made this snake and, buy it from me. Which it doesn't work like that. Not with mine.
Generally. Yeah, not generally.
I
All right, I'm
mean,
gonna hop up for one. I'll be right back. You guys go ahead, but I'm gonna gotta brew.
I'm sorry.
Go for it, John.
I'm venting and talking and whatever.
No, you're cool. Be right back.
Go ahead, John.
Like for me, it's like I could post something unless it's a banger, right?
Right.
Oh, here's a blackhead leopard DG pied. Okay, that's gonna sell. Somebody might inquire on social media, but that's not the case for most of us, right? Like that's something I'm gonna hit and hold back. Even the clutch I just hashed out. There's a pinstripe female head ultramel, 2 normal head ultramels, and 2 cinnamon pinstripes. Now it's like, okay, what do I need? What will I need from that clutch specifically?
Right.
The Simpin ultramel. If it's a male, okay, I can use it. If it's a female, I think I can wait on that. If I sell off the other 4,
Right.
maybe one of those, or 1.2 is okay. Now you have you want to get an ultramel. Here you go. Here's some codoms and whatever. I'm fine letting that go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
I have better stuff here, and I always want to make sure I have better stuff here. And the stuff you guys get is the stuff that doesn't help me. And sometimes it's a nice snake, and unfortunately, I can either buy better or produce better in the future.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting it down too to where it's like I'm having stuff where I'm either you're keeping most of it, like half or all of it. It's kind of getting out of to where I'm not doing a lot, is where I'm just keeping that 1 or 2 and then selling for 5 or 6 snakes. A lot of stuff I'm either going to be holding back everything, or if not at least half of it.
Well, I mean, with my example of the blackhead DG pied, whatever the hell from that clutch, I'm probably holding back at least initially, right? Regardless if it helps me, because there's so few currently available that it doesn't help me. Like
Right.
That's the stuff I'm working, right? Blackhead DG leopard pied.
Exactly.
Like one, I have to keep one to replace whatever. But yeah, I will. Keep that up. Keep it away until I put something better into it. Then I can let it go. Will says, "Do you think it's a good idea to take not for sale stuff?" I do at certain shows, right?
I think so. I mean, it's showing off basically it might not be for sale, but it's what you're going to be having later on, maybe the following year.
Right. But at the same time, you bring it to a show, bring it to new people,
and
near other snake. I don't think, like, for me, if I spent like $2,000 on a snake,
right,
I'm not bringing it to just show off.
That's where you could take. What I would probably do there is take a picture of it, and whether you show it off your phone,
I mean, I have
print one up on a paper or photo at Walgreens or whatever.
I mean, I have a QR code that goes to all my socials and all that stuff, so I think that'll be fine. It is not the pit show. It is Lehigh Valley tomorrow. I think they're both this weekend. I don't know. There's like 3 shows this weekend in Pennsylvania. I think Lebanon was today. I think the Greater Pittsburgh one might be this weekend or next weekend. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of shows, similar weekends. And they all fight with each other. It's annoying. It's like, let's just have a good show. I mean, we can agree that the state is divided, right? Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Let's just have one fucking show. And a good one. And that's been our complaint. We have shows every weekend, conceivably, whether it's at a nice venue or it's at a, Knights of Columbus somewhere with 5 vendors. For me, I'm going to go to the one that's close.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. In fact, we got one next month. Yeah, October 27th and 28th. That one's kind of small though. I'm gonna still go to it just to see how it is because like I said last year, the Fresno Fairgrounds, Fresno Fair was going out at the same time. So I'm hoping that with it being split, maybe it'll be a little better. I want to see how the vending and sales goes basically this year before I do it. Think about it next October. But they got it in April too. Yeah, well, I agree. That's the only thing. Pictures do not do justice at all.
I mean,
But it's better than bringing your expensive snake and it getting
right, and worrying about it. But at the same time, like the stuff you guys see that I post on social media, yeah, it is truly what I take pictures of. I don't try to edit it. I try to edit it as best to what my eyes see, right? Mm. So if my photo's edited, that's how I see this animal.
Right.
But with the right camera, the right things, you can totally make a snake look far better than what it will look to your naked eye in person. And I don't agree with that. Sure, do we take nice pictures for social media? Of course. But anything that I'm trying to sell, you got it, today just in the light box with my iPhone. I can make anybody with a camera can make it look better than what it is. I try to avoid that. Like, you go buy a snake, you see it on Morph Market, you want to buy that snake, and it's like you get it, it's like, oh, it's dull.
Exactly.
Because I use, great lighting, great camera, that sort of thing. It bugs me.
It was like I seen one on like Facebook. They got the Facebook groups, and somebody puts it in there, and it's it's got filters and shit, and it's like, I don't know, they made it pink or purple or some crap, and it's like,
I don't follow that guy anymore. But I mean, I can't say that. Show me what I'm going to buy. If you're selling me something, show me exactly what I'm going to buy. And that's sort of how I focus, my picture taking, my whole approach is like, I feel like it's easier for me to sell something where it's like, oh, here it is now. Here's my should be like, here's what you're going to get.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm trying to get the best picture, best lighting. Like, I'm going to make that the best I can to showcase it, but without altering it. Like,
right.
No
exactly.
filters and all that,
I mean, you can do filter, like even with a nice camera, you can make something look like it's not. And I can make something look better.
Like you said, use it for the fact how you're doing it to be able to make it what your eye is seeing. That's different. Like, yeah, you should make it so that way that person's seeing exactly what you're seeing. That's smart.
Well, I mean, at the same time, who knows if what I see is your mind's eye. Like,
true.
That's where I like run into a conundrum. It's like, well, yeah, I got one eye that's kind of bad. I got, am I colorblind? Am I a tetrachromat? Like,
right.
If what you see in my snakes in person is not what I see, then it doesn't work.
Right.
But I mean, that's what I'm trying to get. Like, like here's the snake, you're seeing it in person. The picture looks exactly like that, at least to me. I mean, I get it. If you have a blue-eyed Lucy, nobody's going to see that. Like, am I going to show up to the show tomorrow with a blue light and be like, yeah, it's leopard? No, I'm not.
Come here, guys. Look,
you got to trust me. It has to be pastel. And given the other 4 or 3 snakes in the clutch, you can bet it would be leopard. I just, that's a hard one. Like when you can't see it and you try to sell it.
Right.
But a bunch of males, they can leave tomorrow. Some breeders, they can leave, buy my snakes.
I know. I got to get rid of a couple myself. I don't know. I got to figure something out. Like I said, I wanted to go to that expo this year, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I might just hold off, wait on selling them, maybe when I go in April. Because I got a couple clutches that are popping up too. Like, I got nothing special on this one, but it's just, I have a banana orange dream yellow belly het pied. So I'm just basically trying to get the visual pied into that. And then just to sell some of those at the expo,
Yeah, I mean, but
Really
that's
helpful
something
for
because
us.
you're looking for that one that you're gonna hit, right?
Exactly.
You hit that all gener and it's staying.
Exactly.
So
And then
like I have no problem with that kind of stuff. For me, it's like I'm just making these just to fulfill my show obligations because maybe I'll sell them, and that eats up an entire rack, right? I'm making bells to sell, making it works for some people.
right.
Don't get me wrong. For me, I'm small. I'm under 50, right? Well, maybe not with what's in the incubator.
I'm with you on that one.
But it's like, if I did nothing, I sat on my hands. By November, my hatchling rack is full, and now it's November, and I'm not doing shows. I can't sell. We're in northeastern Pennsylvania. It's cold. I can't ship. So, I have to do shows or promote this stuff, via my social media and more marketing. And for the most part, the stuff I'm producing isn't worth the shipping currently. Maybe some of the head ultramel stuff, the current stuff in the incubator, maybe. But the stuff I've produced so far, it's not. You want to spend $75 to ship a $50 snake?
Exactly. People aren't going to want to do that. Have you tried? Have you ever done Craigslist before? I know you don't now, but I mean, ever?
I mean, in the past, yeah. But at the same time, if I'm putting in that much effort on not my social media, and who knows what goes on Craigslist? It's like I'm putting in a couple hours to sell a $20 snake. No, I'll go to the show. I've already spent $50 to $100 to vend. It's probably easier to just try to claw that back.
Right.
In an environment where I know I'm likely not going to get screwed, but for $20, somebody probably will buy one of them or both of them tomorrow. I mean, they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't sell them, to breeders, and I feel like that's where my market on social media is to breeders, up and coming breeders, and higher.
Right.
And sure, I may be able to produce some things that I don't need that will go to all those parties, but some of the stuff I produce is for purely pet keepers or not my peers. So oh my god, yeah.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah, so the way
Depending on how bad they want to screw you, though. I mean, if they're coming in at 10% or something, you know what I mean? And
right, but at the same time, these are snakes that I don't want. Right,
yes.
These are snakes I'm not holding back.
Like maybe a pastel or something like that. Yeah, of course.
So if you want to give me $200 for that bell, hell yeah, go on. If you offer me that before noon, I'll probably consider it. So my mistake the last time I vended was like I held on to like more market prices, like what I perceived market prices.
Right.
And yeah, I cut them. I didn't cut them early enough. So tomorrow, after that first go around, like I have my it's not leaving for that price amount. But after that first initial people walking around, I'm crossing out a number, writing a new number. Right, so they come back around. Oh, okay. Now I'm intrigued, right? Instead of they've walked around twice, I didn't drop my price. They may have been interested, but
so you leave the original price too, right? So that they can't see that you did drop it.
Yeah, I'm not going to scribble it out.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll scribble it out, but I'm not going to white it out.
Put a line through it, but they still see it.
Right. And I got a blue pen and a pink pen, to make that work. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm just curious to see if I drop my prices after that first initial walkthrough of the influx, instead of like, okay, here they came, they were interested, and then I waited and got the afternoon crowd, but I dropped my price. Like they didn't know, or they weren't interested. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I do have a better get up for tomorrow, professional displays,
Nice.
tablecloth, that kind of thing. So I'm interested to see. Now, do I have my go home price? It's like they can all leave.
But that's a plus though too. I mean, you got everything. You got your displays and your nice banner and all that. So I mean, that really helps. I mean, not knocking anybody that uses tubs or nothing like that, or I mean, you got to start where you can.
I mean,
But once
I
you
got
got
them
that
too.
stuff, it's going to help a lot more. It makes it, your sales and looks a little more professional. So
It's hard. You have to time it right. You have your
welcome back, John.
You have your
Thanks.
when is my perfect drop? Like you have your like this is what my bare bones is to sell it. Like I don't want to go home with it. So it's like how do you catch the people coming back around?
Right.
And there's other people that will show up, no prices displayed. They will set up, walk around, see everybody else, and then set their price.
Yeah, I think both ways have their limitations, right? So the whole thing we done is similar to what we talked about earlier with the shows being so far that we have a break point. Like to us, if a snake is less than like 75, $100, it's never going to pay for us. We would be far better off with our wholesaler to let that thing go for 20 to 35, depending, because they give us a little better prices on things with, 2 genes or maybe a gene and a het. Not feed it, not cart it around. We're fortunate to have that connection to where that would be all of our table fodder if we were within, an hour of a decent show. But we're not. It's like 4 hours to anything. And we just can't justify it. So unfortunately, a lot of our stuff that we talked about earlier, bringing to a show to kind of just fill the space, that's going wholesale on our side. By the time you feed it 2 months, you've already paid for what you got back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's a tough break point. It's really tough.
So I mean, for me, I have, we have a close PA New Jersey community, right? Some people don't vend, so I've reached out. Like I think maybe Charlie from Reagan Renee, if I can convince him, he's gonna show up with some of his stuff he's trying to offload. Now, I don't want him to wholesale to me because I don't have the space. But if he wants to come up, use my table, use my displays to sell some of this stuff, by all means.
Yeah.
Now, knowing my luck, he's probably going to outdo me next to him. But whatever, he's moved on from them. I have a couple more shows. I would have wholesaled if it was conceivable, right? Like I would have bought some pies, bananas, whatever, some more bells. But again, my price to get them probably isn't the price that they want to be sold for. We're talking wholesale. It's low end stuff. What is it? $10 a snake. Like
right, and that's the issue. So we were fortunate. I mean, I'm very aware of that because we've looked since, and there aren't that many guys out there looking for that kind of range now. They all want, $5-10 wholesale snakes. Well, this guy actually takes our list, breaks it down, reads through it, and he's like, okay, places a value to each one so we can kind of see, what's going on with those snakes. And some of those he's probably got an outlet for. Maybe he has 3 or 4 vendors in his area that can put it on a table,
Okay, so you have a guy that's going to be okay, here's your wholesale. I found a place for it to go.
Yeah, and we got very lucky
on that regardless.
Yeah.
But
to us, that's great though, right? Like I think that is few and far between now. From what I've looked for now for different outlets as a comparison, I can't find another wholesaler that's even close to that kind of scenario.
That's pretty cool,
So,
though.
yeah,
I mean,
now
on
it's
the other
been
side, you bring them in, you pay $10 a head, you're feeding them, you can't sell them.
right.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fortunate, but I
Yeah,
caught
it's-
that just in time, guys. It was already too hard. I am sweating like a butcher if you can't tell, but I had to spray it down with the hose and get, just to get anything to move again. God, I let it go too long, but
Oh, man.
So
Yeah,
honestly, it
I'm
sucks,
gonna
man.
about to end this anyways. It was awesome having you guys on here. Thanks again, John and Kent. Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
For sure.
And thanks to everyone for coming out. Don't forget to get your picks in this week. Well, again, I'm giving you guys, I don't know if I told you, John, or even Kent, but you got till Wednesday, basically, is what I changed it to put the picks in. So I think before, what was it, Monday or something I said? But
Yes.
anyways, yeah, put it in the comments after the show. Got till Wednesday. And then I will see you guys back on Saturday, 12 o'clock. At least the people in the chat. I don't know, John, you might be busy with your stuff, and Kent might have something to do. But
Oh, Penn State's playing.
yeah,
Time to be determined. But I don't have reptile shows or plans next weekend, so who knows?
Yeah.
Nice, Will. Will said he's gonna have a couple dinker babies in the next few years. It's always
I'm
good.
curious to see what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I will see you guys next week, and thank you for coming out to the Thunderdome.
Yep. Appreciate it, everybody. Good to see you too, Kent.